On the clock. Most people don't know that the game's not yet over. They have to announce it.
For me, it's hard to talk about the game when I was most concerned just for the safety of our players after the game.
This game had everything, and we're going to get into whether Duke lost this, UNC won it, what happened with the refs. We're going to get into the court storming, but first, we're going to stick with the positives for both sides, and that was the gameplay between Cameron Boozer and Caleb Wilson. Caleb Wilson was clearly on a mission to prove something against this Duke squad. He had been going on and on about it during the interviews the last few days, and he was fantastic, especially early on. At one point, he was 21 points on 7 of 9 shooting, ended up finishing with 23 points and 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Boozer, who did kind of struggle early on, picked up 2 quick fouls, I think, in the first 10 minutes of the game. Wasn't really that aggressive to begin with, but you got to give him his credit. In the second half, he looked up and he had kind of got this quiet 17 points, and Duke was really in control of the whole thing. He finished with 24 points on 10 of 21 shooting, which is not the most efficient, and he also threw 11 boards to go in there too. And honestly, it's just a testament to both kids. Caleb having something to prove and doing that, hitting some really tough shots. Boozer, even with the slow start, not letting it deter his entire game and still finished with another double-double at 24 and 11. Caleb went a full 40 minutes in that game, and you could tell he just was gassed there at the end. And even though he might have struggled there at the end of the game with some of the shots and taking some forced ones, he was the reason Carolina was even within striking distance through most of that first half. And then Boozer got a good look at the end of the game to put Duke up 2. I've heard a lot of Duke fans that I'm friends with say that he got fouled. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. He had a good look. He missed the layup, and then Carolina came down. Dixon makes a great pass, hits Seth Trimble in the corner, and the rest was history for Carolina. Kind of. And we'll come back to that, what happened after that shot here in a minute. But the stat of the night is that Duke led for 39 minutes and 1 second. And the truth is, UNC did not play some crazy, fantastic game. And if we look at the numbers in the situation, Duke had the lead again for 39 minutes. They out-rebounded UNC. Duke had more assists. The turnovers were even at 8-7. Duke made and took more shots than Carolina, and the teams were even on three-pointers at 8 and 7. The only statistical category that UNC really got Duke in was the free throws, and we're going to talk about those refs. Carolina went 11 of 14 from the free throw line. Duke went 5 of 6. And really, when I say Carolina went 11 for 14, it was really Seth and Caleb went 11 for 14. Only 2 players for UNC to take free throws in that game, which is another just weird stat when you look at how the officiating played out. And here's the thing with the refs. As someone who's coached at multiple different levels of basketball, when you look at a game like that, if I'm a coach and the foul discrepancy is 8-1 out of our favor, I'm going to be on the refs the entire second half to get those calls back up. Now, when you see something like that big of a gap between the foul count, it can usually come down to one of 2 things. One, a team is shooting a ton of three-pointers and they're not attacking the rim, and the refs aren't calling that because they're not being aggressive. Or the second option is that the team playing defense with only 1 foul is a team that's not really showing a lot of resistance against the team that's attacking. If you look at the 3-point and the 2-point shot, Duke took 43 2-pointers and 19 threes. Carolina took 36 2-pointers and 19 threes. So you're doubling up if you're Duke on your 2s versus your 3s. So you're not settling for a lot of outside shots, which is why I think the second option, where Carolina wasn't really showing a ton of pressure, was really more so what we were seeing on the defensive end for Carolina, and why maybe some of those fouls weren't getting called and the gap was that wide. And if we look at 3 of these plays, the first clip we see here, Henry Vasar guarding Isaiah Evans, again, straight to the rim, easy layup. Henry Vasar again being attacked. Boozer straight to the rim, no resistance. And here you see a lob over the top by Vasar and no resistance. And that was kind of Carolina's defense through most of the first half and second half. Duke got whatever they wanted inside the paint, and they were killing North Carolina for a majority of that game. And I think if you do go back and look at the film, Duke missed a lot of outside shots that they would normally make, as well as some bunnies similar to Boozer's layup at the end. So I think when you look at this, it was extremely fortunate. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure how Carolina was even able to have a shot to win that basketball game at the end. If you're a Carolina fan, you don't really care. You take it and go with it. And if you're a Duke fan, you probably look at this game and say, okay, we didn't make our shots. Really weird foul situation. We have Ngongba foul out. I think it was 9 fouls between Ngongba and Boozer and 1 foul between Caleb and Henry. That is really rare when you look at your 4s and 5 between both teams, and both teams shooting over, well, basically 40 or more shots inside the paint. It's a really weird stat line, and I think the things with the refs, that my final point on them is that it was consistently inconsistent. Things that were fouls in the first half weren't fouls in the second, and vice versa. And that's where it's really hard as a player and a coach to discern what is going on in the game. if the fouls are not consistently going on both sides and if they're not being consistent in the first 20 minutes versus the last 20 minutes. So with the refs, I do think it's really weird, and the numbers are going to bode that it was a weird officiated game. Outside of that, though, after Seth hits the three, court storming. Scheyer was adamant again after the game on the court storming.
They should celebrate. If they want a court storm. But just let's get our guys off safely.
And we posted a short earlier today showing a UNC fan throwing a bottle at a Duke player, staff, fan, whatever it was situation. And the thing is with this, and truthfully, I'm on Scheyer's side with this. I think it's totally fine to store quorum. And I think for most of us fans who have grown up in college basketball, it's one of the things that makes college basketball so romantic and such a fun, happy memory for many of us. Either we've partaken in court storms, whether you've been a player, a coach, or a fan, you've been at a game that it's happened. It's just one of those things that is awesome to see, and it really just kind of culminates and allows the celebration between students and fans and the players and coaches. It's a wonderful thing. I do agree, though. You just need to let the other team get off the court. And in this situation with this game tonight, the fans storm the court. There's still 0.4 seconds on the clock. So then you have to clear everybody out, clean the court off, sweep it, get the water up, and then play the 0.4, and then have a second court storm. And emotions are just running too high at that point. If you just, as an and this comes down to security and administration, and as someone who has now also worked as an athletic director, I understand that our players and coaches getting close to students and fans is one of our biggest fears that we deal with, specifically in basketball games. Emotions are running high. Somebody just lost. People are going to be upset. You have so many things going on, and there's just so many things that could go wrong versus what could go right. And it's unfortunate that there probably were thousands of UNC fans and Duke fans who were behaving in a manner that was respectable to the programs, the university, and the teams. And all it takes is just a couple knuckleheads to ruin it for everybody. And that's what I think we have here. Just hold off a second, right? Just keep them in the stands, line your security across it. They can only go one place, right? It's not like this is this open free-for-all. You have a 90-foot court that you're basically trying to protect. Have security and guards around that. If they want to do handshake, they can. And honestly, in that situation, if it feels like that's going to happen, and you know when a court storm is going to happen and not going to happen, if that's the situation, you can just let the Duke players get off the court. And if it was at Cameron, let the Carolina players get off the court. And it is interesting now that we've had, if you go back 2 years ago at the game at Cameron, where students were throwing water and jawbreakers or whatever at the Carolina players. Again, it's a situation where it's not representative of the entire fan base or the players or the coaches themselves, but it just takes 2 or 3 people being absolute idiots to just have a massive situation break out. And again, we can go back to the Malice in the Palace. That situation could honestly happen at any point in time. Like, if you've been to these basketball games, NBA games, anything like that, the lack of security that we do see at a lot of them is kind of appalling to me. I've been to some games in Europe, and specifically at Liverpool, I'm a huge soccer fan. There's security everywhere. The fans are separated. It's honestly so much different over there versus what you see here. And it's kind of scary at times. And I can honestly tell you, as someone who's been in situations where even in a high school game, fights have broken out between students, parents, players, and coaches. It's complete chaos. And it's extremely dangerous. It's extremely frustrating. And it feels like almost anything goes. So I honestly am with Scheyer on that. Get the players off the court and then storm and party and enjoy your night and have the time of your life, as you should as a basketball fan. Anyway, though, honestly, great game. Another great night for UNC. They really needed that win. I think it really just honestly allows them more wiggle room from this point on going into the rest of their season, which still has some difficult games at Miami, at NC State, Louisville, Clemson, and Duke again at Cameron. And it just sets up for another big-time showdown between these two teams when they go to Cameron at the end of the season on March 7th. And also, big ups to all the fans and people on both sides that behaved correctly, enjoyed their night, and had a good time. I think they're still partying on Franklin Street, as they should be. And I can't wait to watch the return game at Cameron. Please hit like to see the basketball, subscribe to enter your name in the portal, and we will see you guys on the next one. Thanks.